political analyst Brian Sobel and USF professor of politics James Taylor. James, first to you. Yes. As the Democrats dissect this election, what will they find? What went wrong?
I think they chose a candidate who was flawed from the outset. And I think that they should have gone with Bernie Sanders. He was polling well from the very beginning, high above Trump and compared to Hillary Clinton. So I think that was their first mistake, that they could have gone with Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders. They chose Hillary Clinton for political reasons. They had a sense of obligation to her, and it backfired. And I think that's the takeaway from this, is they chose a candidate who wasn't ideal.
Okay, and Brian, the same question to you.
I agree. I think had the Democrats come up with Joe Biden or another candidate, this would have been a different election. But they went for loyalty or for whatever reason with Hillary Clinton. Maybe they thought it was her time, and you know, she had to drag along with her all this baggage from years and years and years, and eventually it resonated with people.
Looking ahead to the Trump presidency, so they have Republicans control the House, Republicans control the Senate. Obviously, they have a Republican in the White House. What will they be able to accomplish with that? Will it be easy, or will they have a rough road ahead, even though they have the majority?
Oh, they'll still have a rough road, but it's always made easier by having a majority in the Senate and on the House side. So if Trump's proposals are modest, he'll get them passed pretty quickly. Some tax reform, some other things, that'll happen. The more radical the idea, the more he will get resistance from some of the members of his own party that will resist, and others.
And James, I imagine the time to act is in the first 2 years before the midterm elections.
Donald Trump has a 100-day plan, which comes from the FDR tradition, and then you have the first 2 years. I've joked around again and again and said Obama had a 2-year presidency, because when the Tea Party rose in 2010, Obama has not fully recovered from that, and he can't point to a single piece of legislation after 2010, with the exception of recognition of Cuba and TPP. So it was definitely something that changed everything for him.
Trump has never held office, so who he surrounds himself is very important. Who do you see him putting in his cabinet?
Yeah, I'd see Chris Christie, I'd see Rudy Giuliani, I could see, George Pataki, I could see a number of New Yorkers who are Republicans. And that's the phenomenal thing about this whole race. I'm from New York. It's phenomenal to me that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump pulled this off, where you had two New Yorkers running against each other, and one of them won. And we have the second New York president since FDR, on the scene, and that to me is pretty interesting.
Brian, we've seen these protests tonight. There are protests going on in cities all across the country. There is major anger out there among Democrats who are upset that Donald Trump was elected. What, if anything, do you see Donald Trump doing in the coming days or weeks to try to allay some of these fears?
Well, I think he has to get out and talk to the American people. And I think he has to probably back off on a lot of the election rhetoric that we heard and start moving into a governing phase and asking questions of the American people and telling the American people what he will do for them. Protests around elections, that's not unusual. I always worry that people are concerned that the democracy isn't working for them, because guess what? In a democracy, some people win, some people lose, and you've got to accept the outcome. And so that's a little disturbing.
All right, one more quick question to you, James. The transition of power. Donald Trump is meeting with President Obama tomorrow. How do you expect, obviously they have to work together.
That's going to be an awkward meeting.
It sure is.
I just can't. I mean, these men have a real guttural dislike for each other, and I understand where Obama's coming from with the whole birther thing. And Donald Trump forever represents the repudiation of Obama. I mean, it's almost like Obama never happened now, because Donald Trump will erase the 8 years that he contributed, all of his policies. So it's devastating for Obama, because it's not like he can run again against Trump and then fix all of this and then walk off to the sunset. He's done, and forever. The asterisk will be Donald Trump was the response to Barack Obama's election, and that's devastating.
All right, well, we'll have to let that be the last. Gentlemen, much more to come in the days ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.